I'm really intrigued by, women, the power of women and women in all walks of life. So today I'm in a gupshup chit chat session with my very good friend Mukta. Apart from being my friend, she is also an artist and a work of art herself. A very childlike personality. I love that about you, Mukta. And she is into, unleashing the human potential in terms of leadership training with different companies and organizations. So I leave it to her to introduce herself for the many, many roles that I might have also missed.
So yeah, we're all very complex people, as you know. There's so many Muktas inside this Mukta, isn't it? So one definitely is a leadership facilitator. I like to call it a facilitator because the process is to help somebody realize their potential. And why we say realize is because it's already there. And we say we liberate it, we help you liberate it. So that's one part of my work, which is consulting. So it occupies most of the head. And the heart, which is art. As you know, we do art merchandise. I do art merchandise, and I paint and I write poetry, which is a passion and a vocation. So it's these two. People get to know you only with your profession and vocation. So art is a vocation, and consulting is a profession.
How nice. What a good mix. Huh?
So it's interesting.
Yeah. So, this year, the year of the dragon and adding up to 8 and infinity and with all those concepts and Mahashivratri and Women's Day coming on the same time, which is also 8. So it really, sort of intrigues me that how is this concept of Adi Shakti really existing, and what is it really, and does it have any kind of relevance in modern times?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So while my understanding of mythology is not perfect, but I know that I see Adi Shakti as feminine energy. I see Adi Shakti within every woman. It's only that we probably forget that there is an Adi Shakti inside. And I think it's important for, like I said, liberating human potential. There is this huge energy inside every woman, and that feminine energy is what I call Adi Shakti. There are so many forms of the Devi that we worship during Navaratri. We have Saraswati, Kamala, the Tara, who's green, and the destroyer, the protector, and the mother, so she has so many roles and so many forms.
Right.
You have all of us. We have so many roles and so many forms in our life. So it is so relevant. It is so contemporary. I don't see it as mythology at all.
Right.
In fact, this Adi Shakti is within each woman, and it's for her to realize it. It is for her to kind of what do you say, help herself manifest
Right.
that.
Right.
That power, and work from that, or come from that seat of power, which is Adi Shakti. So I see Adi Shakti like that. And not just that, but so you were talking of Shivratri, I see Shivratri as a combination of Shiva and Shakti. I don't see Shivratri just as Shiva, because Shiva is incomplete without the Shakti.
Yes.
There was a little story. I don't know if I've told you this before, but when some of the Ganas, they said that we'll worship only Shiva. We'll not worship the Devi because she's the female. We want to go to Shiva. So Shiva actually took the Shakti and fused her with him. And that is the Ardhanari Nateshwar story. So I believe that we all have the masculine and the feminine within us.
Right.
So while we focus on a lot of masculine because we want to survive in a masculine world, we forget the creative, the feminine, the source,
Right.
the source of power. We sometimes forget that Adi Shakti. And it's important to embrace her, to realize that we have it in us and operate from that power. That's how I see Adi Shakti.
How nice. So we are inherently possessing this.
Yes.
Just that not consciously
Yeah,
maybe using
we forget it. We
Yeah.
forget it. And it's patriarchy that makes us forget it. We are too busy
Yes.
with these little envies and jealousies and fights and that pettiness
Yes.
which we see around us. We get busy with that. The Maya.
Yeah.
While Adi Shakti is also Maya, but getting just busy with that
Right.
makes us forget that power that we have within us.
So it's really the headspace that we are occupying most of the time. It's not a combination of the heart and the head, you know?
Yeah, that's our power.
Yeah.
We don't have to become a man to rule the world.
Correct.
We inherently are capable of ruling the world.
Right.
We just forget it.
How true. Okay. Personally, I don't believe in this differentiation between mard, aurat, and, the kind of categorization that goes on. And women empowerment एक अपने आप में एक बहुत बड़ा subject है, very popular too. And gender equality, हमें equal rights चाहिए या we are underprivileged. So I always feel that, why are we having so many perspectives? And is there any way, any lens, जिससे कि हम, we can see this in its entirety?
So actually वो एक whole ही होता है, लेकिन how does the brain function? It wants to simplify. So it wants to categorize, right? So it's a very natural process कि हम कह देते हैं कि ये मर्द है, ये औरत है, तो वो बहुत natural है और वो reality है. So
Right.
when we look at some of these stereotypes, etc. So the stereotype itself is not a problem. The way we are conditioned to it is a problem. So for example, in the corporate world, when we say, अरे लड़की है तो उसको feedback थोड़ा सा softly दो, नहीं तो वो रो देगी. So this नहीं तो वो रो देगी with a feminine that we associate as conditioning.
Correct.
वो हमें वो भी बहुत patriarchy इतने सालों से. So why is women empowerment an issue? Because patriarchy ने इतने सालों से हमें इतना condition किया है.
Right.
कि you might want to work the opposite way, or we used to call it the bent knife theory कि knife को इतना bend करो कि balance सही हो जाए. So which is why we talk so much about women empowerment and stuff like that. तो equal वगैरह का तो doubt ही नहीं है मुझे कि हम लोग सब मतलब गोरा काला ये सारे फर्क जो है इसमें ये सब हम करते हैं.
Right.
So actually वो सब whole ही है एक बहुत बड़ा. लेकिन we for our own convenience, for our own understanding, we kind of create, we want to make boxes, we want to box people in them. Right? So it's a very natural process, but the conditioning with which we grow up is a problem, and we need to kind of question these assumptions कि क्या ये सही है एक लड़की के बारे में, किसी प्रोफेशन के बारे में क्या ये सही है कि ये मर्दों का प्रोफेशन है. किसी प्रांत के बारे में और किसी रीजन के बारे में ये सही है कि ये मतलब पंजाब है तो लाउड होगा. क्या ये सही है? तो ये सही नहीं है. There are so many ways in which we can challenge these assumptions, and I think inspire inclusion as a theme of this Women's International Women's Day.
Right.
I think we have to learn to include everybody for what they bring to the table.
Include ourselves. Starts
include
with us.
Ourselves first.
Yes.
Operate from that sense of power that I am.
Right.
I am someone.
Right.
And I want to operate from that space of Adi Shakti as we talked about.
How nice. All right. I always, feel like asking you this. That how do you balance the creative, the often individualistic nature of art and, leadership and the roles associated with it or processes associated with are very collaborative in nature. So how do you gain that nuanced, perspective of balance?
So it's a very interesting question. It's like आपण जसे कपडे बदलतो ना, एका रोल मधून दुसऱ्या आपण ऑफिसला जातो तेव्हा आपण वेगळे कपडे घालतो आणि तसं रोल पण बदलायला लागतात. So when I am writing, I want to be with myself. I want to have my self-talk, I want to reflect, I want to think about the world. But when I go out there, I want to experience the world, I want to interact, I want to learn from that experience. And then when I come back, I reflect on it. So there is always this inward self and outward self.
Correct.
And both are so important because you learn during interaction.
Yeah.
You learn by interacting. When you fall in love, you learn in that process about the other. So the other is the stimulus for anything that goes on within.
Correct.
So even for your creative, that other is very important. You need a muse, for example.
Yes,
right?
I agree. I agree. I agree.
So yeah, so I think there is this inward mukta and outward mukta.
So on a funnier note, जो हमारे दोस्त यार हैं वो often for especially for people like us who are bubbly at once and then are in their shell sometimes. Often हमें सुनने मिलता है यार तू है क्या चीज यार तेरी तो split personality है that kind of a thing.
तो वो एक्चुअली हर किसी में इतनी पर्सनालिटीज होती हैं वो कभी कभी बाहर आती हैं जैसे समटाइम्स यू से ना दिस पर्सन ब्रिंग्स आउट द बेस्ट इन मी और दिस पर्सन ब्रिंग्स आउट द वर्स्ट इन मी और व्हाटएवर सो दैट वर्स्ट इज आल्सो अ शैडो व्हिच इज हाइडिंग इनसाइड एंड आई थिंक इट्स इंपॉर्टेंट टू नो दैट ये सब है ये सब आप में ही है and which one do you invoke which one do you kind of bring out and it's not about having a multiple personality disorder but it's about bringing in that which is needed in the moment
so हर एक दोस्त जरूरी होता है type of a thing
हाँ तो वो हर रोल आपका हर एस्पेक्ट जरूरी है
correct very true. Since we were speaking about balance in our previous question, so balance I feel is seen in all spheres of life, your emotions, your work, your home, family, things like that. But when I talk about your the work that you are doing with leadership training, unleashing potential and all those things, I often wonder that in the dynamics of this there is one place where you require results. It's a result oriented process. And then आपको चाहिए एक टीम जो कि ट्रेंड है ये रिजल्ट अचीव करने के लिए तो हमेशा ये बैलेंस तो नहीं होगा समटाइम्स इट मस्ट बी अप एंड डाउन तो ये सिचुएशन हाउ इज इट दैट यू रिजॉल्व दिस
well, we always tell organizations that it's important, the how is important, like the process is important. The results are, of course, important for everybody, so they know it.
Correct.
But that the process is important, that people need to be ready for what is given to them in terms of task or given to them in terms of results. You constantly have to work with people to skill them, to make them realize stuff, to kind of grow them. And it's always a combination of, say, one part is training or facilitation, the other part is give them stretch assignments, give them that stretch, put them with certain senior leaders saying why don't you shadow these people. Learn by seeing, learn by doing. Yeah? So when you teach people to learn by doing, you're also balancing the task. You're saying task भी हो रहा है लेकिन ये उतना रेडी नहीं है अभी लेकिन उसको रेडी करने के लिए हम उससे एक्स्ट्रा स्ट्रेच दे रहे हैं
correct
right so stretching training making them do self work journaling making them reflect so it's always a combination of these things that we use for people to get their potential क्योंकि पता नहीं चलता है कि कब कौन सा इंसान का एस्पेक्ट बाहर आएगा पोटेंशियल कैसे बाहर आएगा
so unless you don't give those environments you're not going to understand
you never and it's like it's very easy to give them tasks कि ये आपको sales target right but वो जब grow करेगा जब वो उस process को समझेगा तब शायद वो result को सरपास कर देगा तो उसको जो प्रोसेस अंदर चल रही है उसके कि मैं इसको कैसे करूं the how of that process when will you teach them that when will you explain that so which is why we need to balance that all the time and we use multiple techniques to balance it so that the task is also satisfied and people are also what do you say they are ready when the opportunity arrives.
So there's, you can say, a multifold growth for the company.
We call it a development action plan. We call it an action plan because it includes action. Development and action. And then there is a plan.
Right.
So it's a good mix.
It's interesting to know this. Let's move on to a more interesting question. So I don't want to generalize, anything, so to say. But often हम देखते हैं especially on social media that if I want to put up say a blog or a poem or शायरी फॉर दैट मैटर दैट आई हैव रिटन, एंड उस मोमेंट में मैं जैसे फील कर रही हूँ, इफ आई एम हैप्पी, इफ आई एम केयर फ्री, आई जस्ट वॉन्ट दैट माई फोटो शुड अकम्पनी दिस वर्क. तो मेरे लिए ये है कि मेरा फोटो तो सेकेंडरी है, बट ऑफन वी गेट कमेंट्स लाइक क्या दिख रही हो आप, कितनी खूबसूरत हो आप. सो वो प्रोसेस में ना कभी कभी यू फील दैट अरे कोई ये तो पढ़ो, ये भी तो देखो. Of course you feel good when you receive compliments. So especially as an artist, how is it that go about this reception of your artwork?
So it's a very interesting question. इसके बारे में मैंने काफ़ी सोचा है, because पहले मुझे भी ऐसे लगता था बहुत कि अरे कविता तो पढ़ो मेरी, मतलब क्या शक्ल पे ही कमेंट करते रहोगे. तो या दैट्स द फर्स्ट थिंग दैट पीपल सी, एंड आई थिंक वन हैज़ टू टेक इट विद अ पिंच ऑफ सॉल्ट, बिकॉज जो कुछ अप्रिशिएट कर सकता है वो वही तो करेगा,
राइट.
शायद कई बार ऐसा होता है कि वो लोग पढ़ने में इंटरेस्टेड ही नहीं होते, तो उनको जो अप्रिशिएट करना है, I let them appreciate that. But there are a set of people who read, and I derive that satisfaction from their compliments. So I do seek those people. I have those people in my life, and you attract those people who understand your psyche, who know what you're saying,
Correct.
So वो अब उसके बारे में अपसेट होना मैंने बंद कर दिया है. पहले मुझे भी लगता था अरे मेरी शक्ल तो माँ बाप ने मुझे दी है, जो भी है, मैंने क्या किया इसमें, तो इसको क्यों अप्रिशिएट, जो मैं कर रही हूँ उसको क्यों नहीं अप्रिशिएट करते हो. तो जो करने वाले हैं वो करते हैं,
हाँ.
है ना. तो उन लोगों को ढूंढना है, उनसे जुड़ना है, एंड दैट्स इम्पोर्टेंट. और ये जो अप्रिशिएट कर रहा है शक्ल को, ये भी अप्रिसिएशन भर लो ना, अपने पास कमी थोड़ी है.
हाँ.
वो भी भर लो. तो bring it on, I say, bring any kind of appreciation on. I feel good about it. I just feel good about it.
Yeah, ultimately that's the thing,
That's
right?
important.
That you need to feel good of what you're doing. Correct. So, since you spoke about appreciation, this one is a sneaky one, okay? We spoke about, probably the other gender appreciating us, or things like that. How is it that, what's your viewpoint on women dealing with women?
That's a very interesting one. अच्छा, अभी परसों ही एक ऐसा experience मुझे हुआ, and it's very interesting. I went to the gym. I had gained about a couple of kgs because I went and traveled, and so the first thing that a woman who I consider as my friend and somebody with a nice smile and all, she said, वजन वाढलेलं दिसतंय थोडंसं at 7 a.m. in the morning, right? Now the challenge here is that what we as women do to women is very important.
Correct.
And there are some women who are appreciative of other women, and there are some women who kind of bring other women down, and I have had both kinds in my life. Yeah. So आपण कोणाला काय म्हणतो, आपण कोणाला कसं फील करवतो is also very important. And I think women bitching about women, or women being jealous of women being envious of women, this is all a result of patriarchy. This is also an outcome of patriarchy.
Right.
Ultimately पुरुषासाठीच भांडत असतात त्या, सासू सुना कोणासाठी भांडत असतात, त्या माणसासाठी ना. त्यामुळे so it is ultimately an outcome of patriarchy, and it's important for women to understand that कि इस बेवकूफ़ी में हम लोग कितने दिन लगे रहेंगे.
करेक्ट.
कब हम एक दूसरे को सपोर्ट करना शुरू करेंगे, कब हम एक दूसरे की दिल से खुल के तारीफ करना शुरू करेंगे कि ये जो तू 2 किलो कम करने जिम में आई है ना, वाओ kudos, you're looking hot. ये हम कब बोलेंगे एक दूसरे को.
Correct.
So that's something that I would want women to do to other women, like bring that feminine energy together.
Yeah.
मैं तुम्हें एनर्जाइज करूँ, तुम मुझे एनर्जाइज करो. ये भी एक इंक्लूजन है, अलग टाइप का इंक्लूजन है, बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट है.
Correct.
So
I think often we are very goal oriented. मैं क्यों करूँ,
हाँ
You know, इसने तो मुझे तब वैसे बोला था.
हाँ,
So
ये
so
बड़ी
we
जहर
have
की
these, yeah.
आई कॉल इट जहर की बॉटल. आई कॉल इट जहर की बॉटल बिकॉज ना हम अपना वो जहर ना कलेक्ट कर करके अपने पास रख लेते हैं. इसने
हाँ.
मुझे उस दिन ऐसे बोला था. और ये सबको करते हैं, पतियों को करते हैं, बॉयफ्रेंड्स को करते हैं, सबको करते हैं हम ये.
Yeah.
You know? तो वो जहर की बॉटल हमको उसी समय फेंक देनी है.
Right.
उसको इकट्ठा करके रखेंगे तो शरीर में इकट्ठा हो जाएगा. That's why you get breakouts, you get nervous breakdowns, you get those things
Yeah.
in the heart and
Yeah.
blood pressure and stuff like that, because that is the zehar that we're collecting and we're
Correct.
keeping those vials with us कि अरे मैं इसको उस समय उस समय देखती हूँ मैं इसकी तरफ. Why? Happiness is so easy,
agree.
isn't it?
I agree.
Yeah.
So I just read it somewhere that consider we all are queens, and let's straighten the crown instead of pulling it down.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a very good
I
note.
straighten yours and you straighten mine, and it's so good. So
Yeah.
good to do that
Yeah.
to other people, and it'll be such a happy place if we include these sisters
Yes.
who are around us. We learn to
Immediate
do
ones.
that. इतना तो सीखे हम करना यार. फिर हम इतनी बड़ी बड़ी बातें करते हैं इक्वालिटी की बात हम तभी क्यों करते हैं क्योंकि हमको डर लगता है कि हम इक्वल नहीं है.
Yeah.
हम क्यों डरते हैं कि हम इक्वल नहीं है?
Correct.
इसलिए डरते हैं क्योंकि हम बिजी रहते हैं ये सब बेवकूफ़ी की चीज़ें करने में, एक दूसरे को पुल डाउन करने में, एनवी में, जेलसी में, और छोटी छोटी जहर की बॉटलें कलेक्ट करने. ज़रूरत नहीं है.
So, my message, or rather our message to all the women out there, drop your vials, आज ही कचरे के डब्बे में फेंक दो. No need to use them and feel empowered. सब हमारे अंदर है. Everything is within us. You just have to, unleash it consciously.
Absolutely.
And,
Adi Shakti within.
Yes, and that's sort of the motto
the feminine.
the feminine
Beautiful,
energy.
creative, feminine energy.
Yes, and for further, artwork related things, you must visit Mukta's website. Everything is there in the captions and comments section. So please do check it out, and you may also visit her anytime you want.
More the merrier.
Yeah, more the merrier. So आ जाओ कभी अपना क्राउन स्ट्रेटन करने, कभी उसका स्ट्रेटन करने. Thanks a lot for watching, and thank you, Mukta.
Thank you, Sayali, for having me. Wonderful questions and a lovely program that you have. And I think this is wonderful that you're going and meeting people like us and like all of us.
Yeah.
And it's just a great initiative.
Thank you. Thank you.